On this episode of the Range Minded Podcast, we talk about Brandon's stupid ideas. He has another one. Just wait. We also talk about something I signed up to do but completely forgot about until somebody smarter than me reminded me, and a little bit more. I hope you enjoy this episode. It's another half mag, calling it Teacher Day. Enjoy it. Good morning, good evening, good day, whatever time of day it may be while you're listening. This is Steve with the Range Minded Podcast. Welcome back, my friends. Nick, I was trying to get Nick on for tonight, but he's doing some family tripping right now, so we cannot fault him for that. This is going to be a pretty quick episode. There's a couple things I wanted to bring up and talk about, so we'll jump right into it. Again, welcome back to the Range Minded Podcast. So, interesting stuff going on. As you probably know, if you're paying attention to the industry, there is an ominous gun bill that all the Dems are in for it. The super libs are absolutely wanting to take your firearms away from you. And even 10 so-called Republicans, I would call them turncoats, said that they were in support of it, including Mitch McConnell, which is no surprise, as well as our good old buddy Mitt Romney from Utah, who is a disgusting human being. But that's not all. I just found out today, I was perusing the Instagrams, and I saw a fun little blurb that I had to check up on to make sure it was true. And if you guys remember, way back in the time machine in 2015, there was a bill to try to make M855, the deadly green tip 5.56, illegal. And obviously that didn't happen. There was a big scare. If you remember, it was pretty difficult to get any kind of green tip ammunition. If you did, it was a fortune. If you bought some and you hoarded it all, you probably realized that you didn't make a very good investment, at least at that time. Now, any 5.56 is more money than it should be. But I digress. So let's see, when did this story break? Today. So yesterday, this was recorded on the 16th of June, 2022. So yesterday, which would be the 15th, if I did my math right, our commander-in-chief decided that it was time to act in a different manner. And I actually wouldn't be surprised if we see this tactic used more often. The man in the Oval Office who doesn't know where he's at decided that M855, which is the U.S. military designation of the green tip, ammo, he decided that should no longer be in civilian hands. So he contacted Lake City, who is the predominant manufacturer, and I think Winchester gets involved in this a little bit too. I can't remember for sure how they fall into this. But yeah, he feels like that civilians should not be allowed to own that deadly green tip ammunition, because as you know, a 9mm will blow a lung out of a human being, but a 5.56 will completely explode a person, to where there's just maybe a soaking wet pair of shoes on the floor. So I'm not sure what is going on in their little melon, because Biden's not doing this by himself. He is incapable of walking up the stairs by himself, let alone putting away some kind of a rational thought where removing green tip ammunition from the civilian use would make any bit of difference whatsoever. And I find it sad that they will go to any means necessary to ruin. And I think we saw a hint of this when I just mentioned 9mm. I think we saw a hint of this when he said that the 9mm was so dangerous and deadly that we shouldn't be allowed to use that either. Of course, he didn't say that, but I did. So here we are again. They'll attack our rights on every front possible and make it completely miserable for us. I couldn't find, I guess the NSSF broke this story, but I perused through their news and I could not find it at all. So I actually when I put it in the Googleizer machine, found that the NRA of all places had this. Um, you think they'd be a little bit more supportive of this for some reason, just by their track record. If anybody from the NRA is listening, you need to clean house. Let's see if I can find a good quote off here. I didn't really. Usually, mark up a good blurb on the article that I would read a quote out of. So let's see. Look, this is the fourth paragraph down in their news. The news of the move was broken by Larry Keane, the general counselor and senior vice president of the NSSF. So obviously he had something to. That's great that the NRA is pointing out the NSSF is doing their homework and not the NRA. The leading trade association of the firearms. Yeah, we know that. Keane on Wednesday night, it was in a tweet, said the U.S. military is actively considering shutting down the sale of M855 or the NATO designation SS-109 ammo from Lake City to the commercial market. So it's the military is actively considering it. That's interesting because I heard this morning that it was our commander in chief. If you remember, not so long ago, we put sanctions on Russian ammunition, I don't know what percentage of ammo came in through that market, but I'm sure it was not insignificant. But putting another burden on any of the 5.56 will make it much, much more difficult for any of us to get ammo for the most popular firearm in the United States, which we know somewhere around 20 million AR-15s exist. We know not all of those are necessarily 5.56, but a huge, huge majority of them are. And any more pressure on the ammunition market is going to make it much, much more pain in the ass. Kind of frustrating. Thanks again, Brandon. You're building us back better, aren't you? So that is really, really frustrating. I don't know. I don't even know what to say about it. That guy, just man. I think it's just more and more important for us to stay vigilant, stay active in the industry as much as possible, and do our best to communicate with those who represent us, not only on a state level but on a federal level. It's obviously important. I was going to say something else, but my train derailed, which happens a lot, as you guys know. Another thing I wanted to bring up, like I said, this is probably going to be a really short episode because it's actually like midnight when I'm recording this, almost midnight. I was just kind of going through some news and stuff. And this is something I forgot that I signed up to do. That tells you what a great individual I am sometimes. So this coming Saturday, which would be the 18th, is National Train the Teacher Day. So the purpose of this organization is to obviously, as they put it, educate, empower, and protect teachers and their students as far as firearms, responsible use of firearms, and giving them the confidence that they can carry. Now, in Idaho, I don't know what it's like in other states, but in Idaho, it is up to the school districts to allow the teachers to carry. And if this is the way it is in your state, and I definitely need to get more involved in the school board. They meet on a night that I already have so many things going that it's very difficult for me to show up. Maybe that's by their design, not mine. Anyway, if that's the way it is in the school boards where you live or where your children go to school, I would highly encourage you to take the time to participate in those meetings and to share your thoughts about ways to keep our real future safe. Anyway, yeah, so it is this coming Saturday, and I signed up to be an instructor for this, and I actually completely forgot. In the last episode, we talked about some of the things that I've been having to deal with, and my mind has just been completely turned to oatmeal over the last little while. So I had completely forgot. That being said, the only reason why I remembered today, I was doing some stuff around the house, and I get a phone call from I think it was Pennsylvania or something, I can't remember. I could look it up if I really cared, but yeah. So it rings a couple times, and I'm thinking, oh well, you know what? I'll answer it. Sometimes I like to answer the spam calls so I can get excited about the iPhone that I didn't order or whatever. You know what? You gotta enjoy those phone calls. Don't just hang up on them. Give them some problems. Anyway, so I answered that thinking that it was a full on spam call, but it was a gal named Sarah. I don't remember her last name, but she was a reporter from the New York Times, which is kind of interesting. I mean, it's not every day I get a phone call from a newspaper uh, journalist, reporter. Boy, it's probably a reporter. Probably not many journalists left anymore. And she asked me about the National Train a Teacher Day and if I had any students sign up. Now, I was completely, like I said, my brain is oatmeal. And I was thinking about maybe it was something that we had set up for the store at Independence, some class. And so I referred her to Sarah Van Acker, who is our academy director at the store. And we had a short conversation after that. I could tell she seemed kind of, she's, just the tone and inflection on her voice was like, okay, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. And we hung up. And then about 5 seconds after I hung up the phone, the mush started to coagulate a little bit. And I remembered, crap, I signed up to be an instructor for National Train a Teacher Day. And it is this Saturday. So now I'm in a frantic search for the information that I need to do. Because I'm an idiot, I forgot to set up a range, which I honestly know places we can go shoot. And if there are any teachers in southeastern Idaho that would like to participate, I'm still willing to teach. I mean, it doesn't scare me. That part doesn't worry me. It's just that I kind of failed to advertise it a little bit. So it will be on my Instagram and Facebook, and we'll see if I can get some teachers signed up. So that is actually really exciting. Honestly, I wouldn't say we see an uptick in shootings. I don't think necessarily they've increased, and maybe they have, but I think it's probably the reporting of the shootings has increased to make it appear as such that that violence is increasing. And maybe it is. Honestly, it really could be increasing. But the media definitely does not do any favors by creating some of these, making some of these shooters into martyrs in a way, creating a pseudo fan base for them, and other insane people, giving them the opportunity to try and do better than the previous guy. And that happens. There's correlation. In fact, I found a video that was shared to me, and I shared it on my Facebook. It was pretty interesting, honestly, about some of the stuff's going on. And I would not be surprised if that video got taken down. You can look it up on my Facebook feed under Steve Zimmerman. It's pretty interesting. It's a long video. It's like an hour and a half long, if it still exists. But it's pretty interesting. And he kind of goes down a little deeper of a rabbit hole towards the end of the video. Not something I expected, but something that definitely makes sense. So, shifting gears. It's pretty interesting to me, kind of like what we've been seeing lately. I went into a local sporting goods store, honestly, because I was actually worried a little bit about the M855 stuff. So I bought 150 rounds of it, just in case. Do I need it? Nah, not really. Did I pay too much for it? Unfortunately, yes. But there's a lot of ammo on the shelf. Ammo is definitely getting more available. So what do we do? What do we do with shooters now? Are we thinking that ammo is going to come down? The shelves are not empty. Ammo has come down slightly. This sporting goods, I'm not going to share the name of it, but there's only 2 locations, and one of them's here in Idaho Falls, and another one's in Utah. So they don't have a huge purchase power. I mean, they're a good-sized store. I imagine they're part of a buy group now, so they probably get a pretty decent margin on their ammunition. They definitely get a decent margin on their apparels because they offer some pretty good discounts for air quote members or whatever they are. But when I went back to the gun counter and looked at the shelves, like I said, there's quite a bit of ammo available. The problem is like I saw some MagTech 9mm, which when I was running the range all the time, man, that stuff was like $8 a box. It's not real clean. It's not terrible, but usually that was like bargain ammo. Like that was we used to get really good margins on MagTech. But to see it at like $18 a box, I just cannot compel myself to buy um what would you call it? Average level ammo for 18 bucks a box. But what I did find, and I was actually really excited about it, is I found some where did I put it? I think it's even down here. I found some 22 mag uh defensive ammo, so hollow points in 22 mag. I'm actually really excited. I know I've seen videos and stuff of the 22 mags, like they'll shoot them into watermelons or whatever, and there's great expansion. But I really want to experience this firsthand. I don't want to just watch. Oh, I told you it's getting late. Ugh, excuse me. I don't want to just watch the videos of people shooting melons. I actually want to see what it's like. Um, it should be exciting. It should be really messy, but 22 mag is awesome, anyways. Uh, I'm gonna shoot it through a rifle and through a revolver. We're gonna see see what the differences are between the two. It should be a lot of fun. Hopefully, I can get some pictures that actually are kind of fun to watch. Usually, when I take my phone and set it up on the tripod and try and take pictures, I just look like a goober uh, making substandard videos that most gun idiots post on YouTube or Facebook or whatever. They're not very exciting. For some reason, I can't figure out how to uh, make fun social media posts. Uh, Maybe it's because I'm old. Who knows? Who knows? So we're getting, like I said, it's going to be a short podcast. But what I really wanted to hit next, and this will probably be the end of it, is how are you doing as far as a steward of the Second Amendment? When Mark was here in the beginning, you know, and Ricky, honestly, from the very beginning of the show, we talked about being good stewards of the Second Amendment. What are you guys doing to be those stewards? Are you seeing all this crap that's going on television, or spending too much time on YouTube or Instagram or whatever, Twitter, whatever social media account you got, and just bitching and moaning about the laws that are trying to be passed? Or are you actively going out there and sharing? Oh, I don't want to say this. Your story when it comes to the Second Amendment. Are you going out and well, first, are you gaining the information and the education you need to go out and maybe correct these people in a kind manner that maybe just don't understand? Like when I was talking to that news reporter today, she was saying that she'd talked to a lot of the instructors on this train of teachers thing for this Saturday. She says it's been really regional. I think she said Ohio. There's a really heavy demand for teachers to come in and take the class. Um, and in some areas it's been really barren. Like I haven't seen any information of people signing up for the class for me. And so what I was telling her is like maybe what we're seeing, at least as far in Idaho, is there's already a pretty good knowledge base of people that have grown up around firearms in Idaho, but we are getting a slow influx of people. I shouldn't say slow because it really is not slow. Um, People coming in from other states and uh, that maybe be less comfortable with firearms around them. So what are we doing, at least in Idaho? And I know there's some other states that are experiencing an influx of people, refugees, I guess you could say, from other states that are trying to find a better place for their family. I know we get the good with the bad. We've definitely seen an uptick of the bad as well. It just kind of is what it is. But we can be a light in the darkness as well. Those of us that have spent the time to educate ourselves, to become educators in the firearm community, we should be outspoken not overbearing, but outspoken, and be willing to teach what we've spent a lot of time investing into our knowledge to be able to share with others. That's one thing I really liked and why I signed up to do this, the train a teacher thing. Um, is because I enjoy teaching. I enjoy sharing the passion and what little knowledge I have of the Second Amendment to others. I didn't really grow up in a place where guns were enjoyed that much. My dad had guns. We had some stuff around, but my dad never took a shooting. Um, it wasn't up until my teens that I really got excited about it. And once I got later on, even 30 years old or so, that's when I really really got excited about it, and I really wanted to involve my family in something that I knew we could have fun. I understood the risks, but I really wanted to share that passion with others. So what are you doing? What are some of the things that you guys are doing, whether actively or passively, even if it is on your socials, um, about sharing your passion for the industry and your passion for your freedoms? I think that's something that's really being lost. All of us have opinions, and all of us seem to be really willing to share an opinion, but most of those are not fact based. They're opinions. Uh, we should be we should be out there inviting people to go shoot. That's why I would say it all the time at the end of the shows: is take somebody shooting. We really need an influx of responsible, um, um, what's the word I'm thinking of? I can't even think of the word. Somebody's going to be passionate about it in a responsible and safe way, because that's what's gonna change the country. Um, I think we talked about, or I talked about a little bit a while ago, about how people just don't care about their neighbors. When I grew up, we knew all of our neighbors. I grew up in a really really rural part of Idaho. Our closest neighbor was a quarter mile away, which maybe that doesn't seem really rural to some, um, but we knew all of our neighbors. Like I knew the people, almost everybody that lived within like a 5 mile radius of my house. But now, I live in a subdivision, and I know my immediate neighbors and a few more, but man, I don't know everybody even in a mile radius anymore, and that's sad. I mean, it is what it is, but that's kind of shame on me for not getting out there and talking to people and waving to people and visiting with people in the store. I think I shared this before. My daughters got mad at me. We were at the Chick-fil-A drive-thru one time, and waiting for our food, and I like to talk to people. I'm not too scared about it. So the two teenage girls there waiting to service our food or get us our food through the drive-thru, I was just like, "Hey, how's your day doing? How's your night? At least it's not cold, whatever." And as we left, my oldest daughter said, "Dad, that's disgusting." And I said, "What?" She's like, "You were flirting with those girls." I'm like, "No, I wasn't. I was just asking how their day was. Uh, uh, just hopefully making their work day a little bit brighter." And that's really what it is. Maybe kids nowadays think that creepy old dudes are the ones that ask you how your day were. That definitely was not the way the intention was. But we need to be out there talking to people. We need to be going to the range. We need to be taking people to the range. And I know we just talked about ammo prices and maybe the potential price hike on ammo that's coming up. I understand. I do understand that. Maybe you don't have to take them shooting, but maybe I don't know. Maybe there's some other way you can share. Going to those school board meetings, um, participating in elections in your area, or whatever. There's tons of ways to get out and visit with people. Um, you just got to get out of the bubble. And I honestly, I absolutely feel that if we can get out there and communicate with others around us that maybe don't think the same way we do, um, but if we can actually have a conversation and communicate outside of social media, man, the world would be such a better place. And it's something we really need to work on. I know I got to be better at it. I am not scared to talk to people but uh, sometimes it can be a little bit scary. I Greg Pruitt, who's the um, gosh, he runs Idaho Dispatch, but he also runs the oh my gosh, the pro gun the pro gun group here in Idaho. Why can't I remember their? I can't. Idaho Second Amendment Alliance. There, I knew it would come to me sooner or later. My brain is oatmeal. Remember we talked about this, and I put in a little live chat that, hey man, I saw you at the grocery store, but I was too chicken to just come say hi. And he's like, dude, why don't you just come say hi? Like, don't be scared. I'm just a normal person. And I wonder if he thought it was just because I feel like he's starstruck, which or I'm starstruck. I'm not. Like, most of the time I don't care who people are. I've had a chance to meet um some really cool people in the industry that you just talk to like a normal person, and they're fine. If you go up thinking or acting like they're gun gods, then they're gonna act that way. But if you just talk to them like they're normal people, they tend to be pretty chill. I didn't ask for autographs. I don't ask for pictures. I just say, hey man, how's your day going? It's good to see you. And one time even at Shot Show, I did that to somebody. He's like, don't you want a picture? And I was like, oh yeah, sure. We'll get a picture. I'm not gonna say his name. But they're just people. And the same thing with the anti-gunners. They're just people. They're still citizens of the United States. Um, we're all children of liberty, and we need to remember that just because our perspectives and our opinions aren't equal doesn't make us any more or less valuable than our neighbor. It's important to remember that. Anyway, guys, I told you it's going to be a short show. We're going to keep it where it's at. I really appreciate you guys listening. If you like what you hear, give us whatever 5-star, whatever base you're listening to this on. Give us a good rating. Share it with your neighbors. Share it with your friends. If you have an idea for a show, drop it in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. Nick and I love to hear from our listeners. We've had a few email in the past, and we like to give them shout outs because it's important. We want you to know that this isn't just a couple guys or sometimes one guy just talking in a mic for no reason. I honestly don't talk just to hear my own voice. I feel like we have something to share. Sometimes our shows aren't as exciting as others, and that's okay. Also, if you're a teacher and you feel like you want to take a step towards becoming more confident or understanding of a firearm, you don't have to be in Idaho. It's all across the country. It's a national Train the Teacher Day. Jump on their website. It's let's scroll right up to it. Anyways, just Google it. It's National Train the Teacher Day. It's the 5th annual, so this isn't the very first one they've ever done. It's going to be June 18th. If you're in Southeast Idaho and you want an opportunity to be trained, I am a firearms instructor. I will absolutely do it for free. But you have to prove to me that you're a teacher. Like, we're not just gonna have a free class for fun. It's for a purpose. And I would love to have you guys even on the show. We could talk about before and after. I think it would be a lot of fun. Anyways, if you do feel like you wanna be part of that group, and you're in Southeast Idaho, you can email me at this is going to be a fun email. Hope you're ready. It's impractical tactical, all lowercase, one word, impractical tactical 17 at gmail.com. Okay, that's my personal email address, and feel free to email me, and we'll figure something out. I would love to take some time and show you how to use a gun. And honestly, here's another challenge. If and I'll even spread this out. If you're in the Boise Valley, I'm willing to drive to Boise, not for this thing, but if you're on the fence about purchasing a gun or you've never shot a gun before, Nick and I will make time. We'll come hang out with you can come hang out with us. We'll go to the range and we'll I'll be happy to teach you for free. Now, not a ton of people. Well, no, you know what? Screw it. Yeah, we'll figure it out. Maybe we'll set up a day. If you buy the ammo, I'll bring the guns, and it'll be a party. Okay, let's just go with that. Appreciate you guys listening. You guys are all rock stars, whether you know it or not. Remember, somebody's always watching you and learning from you. Make sure they're learning the right things. And remember, you got to take somebody shooting. Appreciate you guys. Love you. Peace out. Hey, gang, we really appreciate you guys hanging out with us. If you liked this episode, make sure you let us know and everyone know by giving us a 5-star rating and maybe sharing us with your friends. If you have an idea for an episode or a guest that you think would be cool to have on the show, or you just want to get in touch with us, you can email us at podcast@iishooting.com or hit us up on Facebook or Instagram at Range Minded Podcast. Thanks again, and take somebody shooting.